In this video, we'll start to explore how we can create a very advanced function, which is very commonly used if you are going to create a dashboard. And what we want to do is we want to combine 4 different functions together. We want to get the large function, the drop-down list, the VLOOKUP, and the choose function. And what we will do is we create like a dashboard where we can select the best-selling product and show the product name and the value. So let me show you exactly what we have. So we have here a list of product IDs, and we have some product names, and we have our products sold. And we have the top list 1, 2, and 3, which is just very basic. However, this is the most important one to work with. Let's start and go here, and here this would be our so-called dashboard. And in this dashboard, we want to have a drop-down function where we clearly can select and see. First of all, we want to have the top selling product. We want to select that, and we can also select the second and the third, which is why we have this top list here. Then we will see here as well, we have the product name and the product sold. So we have to get these, and to do this, here we will be using the large function, and here we will use the VLOOKUP function, but, and there's a but, we have a small challenge because the order of this table is not suitable for a proper VLOOKUP. So we need to use choose to reorganize the table structure so that VLOOKUP can read it easily. Alright, so let's start with this. This is a quite challenging item. So first one, let's make the list where we have a drop-down list. Alright, to do this, what you have to do is, if you're from your home, just go to Data. You click on the Data tab, and here you select Data Validation. In here, we will select the validation criteria, and make sure you are, when you have your list, where the location or the cell you select, that's where the list will be shown. So in our case, it will be B3. Select this list, alright, and select the source. So where can we find our list of values? Let's go to the drop down, and you can see now we move automatically to drop down and select this part here. Basically, it's a top list 1, 2, and 3. So we can select number 1, number 2, and number 3. Alright, you can see it automatically recognizes all the values. It knows in which tab it needs to find the value. Press enter and then confirm. Alright, so once we do this, you can see here now we have this drop down button, and select this. You can select the options here, number 1 or number 2, 1, and 3. Alright, so let's put this on number 1. So this means we have our first part. However, we're not done yet. Why? We need to now extract the best selling products here, or whatever is the top 1, 2, and 3. Based on this selling list here. So we go here, we have here the sold, we type in equal, and then we say large. We type in large, open parentheses, and you can see here the values. So it says here, was the array value and was the K value. Well, the K value in our case will be whatever we select here. So this would be the K value. But let's first get the array value, and the array value is the top selling list, or the list with all the records. So we go to the tab drop down, and it starts to find already, or understands it's in drop down tab. And then we have here sold this week. Select these, comma, and then we go back. We need to select the K value. So the K value, you could select this one, but that will be hard coded. That's not possible. We want it soft coded or by a formula, so it will become dynamic. Select this, and then we close parentheses and then enter. There you are. So now we have 250 items sold, and that's the best selling. So if we say number 2, 150. So let's double check here. What would be the second best selling item, which is banana cake? What is the first best selling item, which is brewed coffee? Alright. So now I'm going to show you, and this is very important, and this is why we're going to use the choose function. So I'm going to first show you the way how it should not be, and after I'm going to show you the way how we will solve this. Alright, so you will probably, if you're familiar with VLOOKUP, you type VLOOKUP, you will know this, but if you're not, I'm going to explain to you, assuming that you don't know this yet. Alright, so you have the VLOOKUP, the VLOOKUP value, and then you have the options here. All right, what is the lookup value? Let's click here. What is the lookup value that we want to search? Well, we want to search this value, whatever being displayed, in a table array. So we take comma, the table array, which is in the second tab, the drop down tab, and here is the value. So we're going to select this one here based on this. And once we did that, we do comma, and then we say the column index number. So which column can we find the value that we want to match? Well, this is the column. Well, to understand here, the table array, we selected these two, means this is first column and this is the second column. And if you're familiar with VLOOKUP cannot support this structure. Normally, the searching value, the matching value must be on the first of the table array, and anything after, so basically the left side. And the right side is supposed to be the value. So anything after that will not work. Or if it would be, if the value is here, so on the right side, well, on the left side there's the matching value one extract, this will give an error. All right. So in this case, we will get an error because we say here 1, which is this. The column is number 1, and this is the second column. And then range lookup will say false because we want exact match. Yes, 90% of the time we want exact match because we want the matching value here. Enter. Now it gives you the error value of NA, not applicable or not available. So why this happens? Well, I want to explain to you. Because the value was not correct. How to solve this? Well, let's start and use the choose value. So for that, we can use the choose value. And to make the choose value, we're going to start here first. Or let's say here down. So what we will do is the following. We'll make it here. We say equal choose, open parentheses. And what the choose does is restructure the table by formula without moving it. Because maybe you would say, well, okay, if I just copy paste this here and cut this part of the table out and paste that here, everything will be fine. Well, guess what? It might be fine if you are able to do that, but sometimes you're not allowed to adjust the source code or the code of the source, which is quite common because that should not be adjusted like that. All right. So what we will do now is we just reorganize this. So how do we reorganize this? We will indicate now in Excel which column wants to be shown first and which column will be second. So to be clear, this is the column that's right now second, but we want to put it on the first position, and this we want to put on the second position. To do this, we have the index number, all right? And here, what will be the index number? We're going to select these 3 columns. So there's 3 index number, or 3 columns in this case. So this column is number 3. Yes. So we're going to restructure the order. Say number 3 will be first. All right. Comma. And then we say this values. Then so Excel understands how many columns and how many values there are. So there's 1. This is column number 1. Column number 2, comma, and column number 3. All right. Close this and enter. Now you can see instantly we get the third column being shown first. All right. And if you want to readjust it, you can adjust, for example, port number 2, enter, and then you can see column number 2, which is this, will be shown first. But in our case, we need column number 3 as first one. So this will be first, this will be second, and we can do this last as number 1. All right. So how to do this? Because choose right now is a value. You can see here, this is a value. It's not an array value. To do this, we have to use some tricks here. We're going to use the following. So we know this is our order here. So we say 3, 2, 1. So basically it will be 3, 2, 1. To make sure, because if you would copy this just here, you say 3, 2, 1, enter. Excel or the choose function does not understand at all what you want. It assumes the last value of this one is the most readable, and it assumes that the formula is like this, right? So we cannot do this. To solve this, we need to use open parentheses, or sorry, we need to use curly brackets. Yeah, so we say this is an array value. We're going to do this part here. All right, so let's go back here and redo this, and we remove the formula here. All right, And then we say here, curly brackets, and then we put in the order 3, comma, 2, comma, 1, enter, and there you are. Now we have the value, and you can see this is just only a formula. There's nothing else basically in here, and this is very good because now you don't have to worry. Maybe if you would say, well, if I have a huge list and I have to put in another list like this here, that will be a mess. I cannot do that. You're right. No need to do it because this is basically stored in the memory of Excel. So let's go back, and let's go back here to our VLOOKUP function here, and let's readjust this. So what we have to solve here is two issues. First of all, the value here plus the column index here. Yes, because we are going to have to we have the column index number will be shift, because what we do is we put the part that's required in the first place and the data that we need to extract on the second column index. All right. So to make this very understandable, we're going to remake this formula. So I say here VLOOKUP, open parentheses. What's the VLOOKUP value? Well, that's this one here. And then we say comma, table array. What's the table array? You would say, well, this will be the table array. No. The table array is the following. We say here choose, that's the function, open parentheses, yes, and then pay attention, curly bracket, number 3, comma, 2, comma, 1, close curly brackets, and then we say comma, then we say value 1, which is this, comma, value 2, which is this, comma, value 3, which is this, comma, oh sorry, not comma here, but we're going to close this because we're going to close now the choose function. Alright, so now the choose function is done. Yes, so the table array has been solved, comma. Then what's the column index number? Well, if you remember, what we just did is we reassigned it here as yet, and I made it visual for you. So the table or the column index number, this is number 1 now in the new structure, and this is number 2. So we're going to put in column index number 2, comma, range lookup. Range lookup will be false, an exact match. Close it and enter. Nope. All right, so let's see what's going on here. We have maybe a tiny issue. All right, we got this, we got that. Do we have a double equal? We have here a drop down. So we get here a small error. So I figured out what's the error. Here is the error. So what we did was when we moved and we did the choose function, we have to remove this one here. Very important. Remove this and then you put in error. For enter, and then you get banana cakes. Alright, if that's correct, so let's double check that. The banana cake was 150 sold. Alright, so now we can remove this, and I'm going to copy this entire function or formula and put it in here and enter. There you are. So now we get this, and now we have a nice Dropbox of a drop down button with a nice function here where we can show and select anything. You can see our top 1, top 2, top 3, and if we let's readjust this, let's say this is 1 and this is 4 and 5 and 8 and 10, and this is again 3 and this is 7 and this is 9. Let's see what happens now. Go back to show value. We can see 10 is milk tea. Then select this. What's the second one? It's winter melon tea. Is that correct? Yes, winter melon tea is second one. And finally, third one is the fraps, which is sold 8 pieces. And what we can do here is, well, we did this, remember, if we would, because we had a third column, yes, the third column would also, we created a third column with a product ID. We could even extract the product ID here instead of sold, or we can, sorry, the product name. We would be able to do that just by adjusting this here. Number 3, enter, and you can see here now we get product ID number 4. Alright, so top 3 sold 8 pieces, which is product ID number 4. Product ID number 4 is fraps, which has been sold 8 pieces. And if you're wondering, is this formula then still, do we need to keep this formula? No. We delete this, and now as you can see, everything is fine. And let's readjust this to back to 2. Alright, we have props, and now imagine we have something new. Let's say we have now a new product. It's called black tea, and we say this is 99 items sold. Click on show value, and now oh sorry, let me double check here. 99 items sold. So we need to have, of course, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Of course, the number 1 top seller is 99. So what is number 2? Milk tea. And what if we say this is 9, and we say this one will be 11, and this one will be 15. So now you will see espresso will be the number 1. There you are, 15 pieces espresso. And with this, you can start to play around with it, because now you don't have to force yourself with only like multiple rows, because now you can make it very dynamic. So this is a dynamic type for a dashboard, and this is just only one aspect. And as you can see, we use multiple functions. To be clear here, large, drop down, VLOOKUP, and the choose function. The choose function is very important and very powerful together with VLOOKUP. So if you like videos like this and enjoy them, subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, and maybe you're struggling as well with this, don't worry, I understand why, because this is quite advanced topic. Just put a comment below and share your issue, and I will try to figure it out as well and help you and make sure I get back to you.